In 2012, Nikon had a really busy year, launching no fewer than 3 full-frame DSLRs. There was the D4, then the D800, and then the D600. But towards the end of the year, Nikon decided to refresh its DX format range of DSLRs by announcing this, the D5200. Let's take a look at it in closer detail in this full review. Rather than adopting the D5100 16.1 megapixel sensor, the D5200 features an all-new sensor. It has a resolution of 24.1 megapixels, and if you're thinking that's the same sensor as found within the D3200, you'll be mistaken. This is an entirely new sensor for this camera. The sensor offers an ISO range that runs between 100 and 6400, which can also be expanded to 25,600. The D5200 also adopts the latest generation image processor, and that's an XP 3 image processor. This enables the camera to shoot at up to 5 frames per second, and it also allows the camera to offer 50i video frame rate. One of the great benefits on the D5200 is the new Nikon Multicam 4800DX AF sensor module. Now this is the same AF sensor module that was found on the D7000, and the advantages that it brings to this camera is that you can now find up to 39 AF points. And you can also, if you just head into the menu, just set this to either 39 points, or alternatively, you can just set it to 11 AF points if you'd like to just move across the frame very quickly. What's more, the D5200's AF tracking mode, that's its 3D AF tracking mode, is excellent at locking onto moving subjects. It's really fast and responsive. And although the 18 to 55mm kit lens may be adequate for beginners, those that really want to take advantage of the AF system will want to use the D5200 with some premium glass. The D5200 also embraces the 2016 pixel metering system from other cameras in Nikon's range, such as the D600 and D7000. Now the exposure compensation can be set to plus or minus 5 EV, and the real great advantage of the 5200 is that you can also just change the exposure compensation when you're recording videos. One of the key differences between the D5200 and its entry-level cousin, the D3200, is that of its tilting screen at the side. This can be tilted to almost any angle for high or low angled shooting. And it's a screen that measures 3 inches in size, and it features a 921K dot resolution. Although the D5200 doesn't feature Wi-Fi and GPS built into the camera, it does actually support both of these features. But these have to be paid for and just bought additionally, which actually just increases the cost very slightly of the D5200. The wireless mobile adapter to make it Wi-Fi enabled is around £50, but if you want to buy the GPS adapter, which then just sits on top of the camera, just plugs into the side, that's going to set you back about £199. To make it attractive to those who like to record HD video, the D5200 shoots at a variety of different frame rates, including 50i, 30 frames per second, 25 frames per second, and 24 frames per second. At the side of the camera, there's also a 3.5mm port, so you can attach an external microphone. However, there's no 3.5 external port, so you can listen to the audio and monitor it as you create your videos. Even though it looks almost identical to the D5100, it's actually 45 grams heavier. And if we just take a look underneath, it also just uses the same battery, so those who are going to upgrade can just use the batteries that they've used before. And if we just swing the camera around, it's also got a really good new graphic user interface, just to make it a little bit easier when you're setting up the camera. This new graphic user interface makes it very easy just to set up your shutter speed, aperture and ISO settings. These clear dials just clearly show the settings that you've got them set to, and even the aperture closes as you just increase the aperture. There we go. It's really nice, neat interface, and also the ISO can just be controlled over here on the right. And if you just want to get into any of the other settings, you can just hit the info button, and likewise you can just get to all the settings you need to beneath very quickly. The D5200 also adopts the effects and creative settings from the D5100. Some of these include night vision, colour sketch, miniature effect, selective colour, silhouette, high key and low key. But as we found out in our testing, there's still a bit of lag when using some of these modes. Loaded with a SanDisk Extreme Pro card, we managed to rattle out 6 frames at 5 frames per second before the buffer prevented any more shots being taken. This was set to RAW and Fine JPEG, and when we changed the image quality just over to Fine JPEG, the D5200 happily rolled out an unlimited amount of frames, and that's testament to the D5200's excellent buffer. Adopting the 2016 pixel RGB sensor from the D7000, the D5200 provides matrix, center-weighted and spot metering modes. With the metering mode set to matrix for general shooting, the D5200's images appear well exposed on screen, and a study of our histograms in Photoshop and Camera Raw confirms that the metering system works very well indeed. We found ourselves rarely dialing in any exposure compensation to produce accurate exposures in scenes with a wide dynamic range. If you'd like the camera to help restore more accurate detail from high contrast scenes, active D-lighting is also available and applies automatic digital processing to the brightest or darkest areas of an image. The D5200 produces bright and vibrant images straight out of the camera. Colour accuracy is a good representation of what your eye sees at the point of capture, but JPEGs are fractionally more saturated than RAWs as a result of some in-camera processing. As for sharpness and detail, the 24.1 megapixel sensor delivers highly resolute images with impressive levels of detail when it's coupled with premium lenses. Attached to our Sigma 105mm f2.8 test lens, the D5200 managed to resolve 32 lines per millimetre on our resolution chart at ISO 100, which is a very respectable performance. As for its performance at high ISOs, the D5200 performs very well, with very minimal noise in images until ISO 1600. You can use ISO 1600 and ISO 3200 settings with no problem at all, and it's not really until you reach ISO 6400 that you really start to see noise creeping into images when they're viewed at 100%. With a little bit of noise reduction in Camera Raw, you can easily just remove the noise, but we would say avoid the extended ISO settings at 12,800 and 25,600. So there we have it, it's Nikon's latest DX format DSLR, the D5200. To read our final verdict on the camera and to read the full review, make sure you just head to whatdigitalcamera.com.